Hello and welcome back to What's Next Wall Street. I am Georgia Alfredas.
And I'm the illustrious Dave Mathews. Now, this show is the intersection of finance, technology, AI, which is artificial intelligence, and consumer trends. And today, we've got information on the AT&T breach. Your dad is probably out there on the dark web. No, not sweet, Georgia. Not sweet.
I mean, I'm sweet that we've got the information. I'm sure my information's out there. I already know that.
That's true.
Okay. Listen, you can email us at WNWShow@gmail.com. Or, of course, you can hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street. Plus, you can watch all the shenanigans on our YouTube channel. If you're watching on our YouTube channel at WNW Show, just type that in. Dave, where are you, dude? What is this place?
This is my red room in San Francisco with, I put some Burning Man lights in it. So doing some projection of lighting on the wall. A lot of stuff that I do in SF when I'm visiting is test stuff that I'll deploy at Burning Man in August. So you guys are getting a heads up here.
Okay. When you said red room, I immediately got scared and thought about The Shining. Remember that on the mirror, red room?
Yeah.
Red room. Okay.
Red room.
So if you're watching, so that's where he is. We are doing the show from our prospective houses, and I am in my house in a thick-ass sweater.
Suburbia, right?
Yes, Suburbia, Frisco.
Yeah.
But okay. I'm in my house in a thick sweater because although it's spring everywhere else, it's freezing in my house because my husband won't turn on the heater. So there's that because he's like, it's spring. This is the only time we don't have a bill. That's right.
You know, when I lived in Manhattan, the building would either switch over. So it was steam heat or nothing.
Exactly.
And I'd put window units in. So yeah, he runs it like a business there. I like that. That's smart.
I mean, I'm literally wearing Uggs. Thank goodness you can't see. So listen, y'all, subscribe and hit that alert button so that you're notified as soon as a new episode drops. So Costco's joining up with healthcare marketplace Sesame to offer weight loss drug prescriptions for its members. You knew this had to happen. I mean, it's everywhere. The program includes access to weight loss drugs, including Ozempic. Now, the service is going to cost $179 for 3 months for Costco members, but still only $195 per prescription period for non-members. So I feel like nobody's going to be I want to be politically correct. Nobody's going to be big anymore because everybody's going to get the shit. You can get it everywhere. I don't know. It's
and then this drug is also used for people that actually have a problem that need it, not the people that want
diabetes.
No big deal. So I love that. I love when medicine gets repurposed. But hey, you know, the Post-it note was an accident and probably so was Viagra. I don't know. It actually was. Viagra was found as an accident, just like the Post-it note. That is a true story.
Wait. What was it for? Now I have to know.
They were using it for, I believe it was blood, anti-clotting perhaps, but, maybe we can ask Greg. Maybe he knows about that. So
okay. All right.
So what a difference a day or two makes. After the new ticker was unveiled, Trump media stock was soaring to the moon, diamond hands. It went from $20 to $79 in just a couple days. People were going nuts over Trump's Truth social media platform, turning the parent company into a real meme stock sensation. But after a wild ride, shares took a nosedive. Why, do you ask? Well, it turns out Trump Media I'm glad you asked, Georgia, reported a hefty $58 million loss in 2023. But look, truth be told, Reddit, all these other new IPOs, everyone's going to have a loss for the prior year. Still, even with that setback, the company is allegedly worth over $6.8 billion. But here's the kicker. They're not out of the woods yet. SEC filings reveal that they're expected to bleed money for a while, and there's a warning flag about Trump's involvement putting them at risk. Look, anything Trump attaches his name to, like steaks or Bibles.
Bibles.
I thought that was a April Fool's joke, but it came out like a week before April Fool's.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, this old man's not going to do anything cool like that. But remember how when we grew up, Georgia, it was separation of church and state?
Used to be.
But do you see what he did? He put church with state because what came with the Bibles? A little Constitution.
So God only likes America, just so you know. Okay. He only likes America. All right. So it turns out Google has been hoarding billions of data records from folks who thought they were cruising the internet incognito. What? Who knew? Everybody, especially Dave. Google has agreed to trash all that data. The catch? If you want some cash for your trouble, You got to take matters into your own hands and sue them individually. And who's going to do that? Like, I mean, would you? I know you would do it. I don't know. How do you even find out if your data was breached? Like, how do you know?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the class action lawsuits that AT&T anti-lawyers, I guess, what do you call those? The ambulance chasers. I'm getting pegged with that on social media. Right? Well, they're lawyers, but they're not my kind of, look, they're just going after the quick land grab of money here. But I'll be surprised if Google doesn't have those ambulance chasing lawyers coming after them. But see, this is why they got rid of their "Don't be evil" tagline from the beginning of the company, which they had up until 2018. Do you remember that? Like, what company has the tagline
"Don't be evil"? What does that even mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Evil. That means you must be evil.
Yeah, exactly, Georgia. They were doing evil, and we knew it. Those of you in California making bad decisions should be excited, though, as they've rolled out a new $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers. Democrats in the state legislature pushed the law through last year, arguing that over 500,000 workers aren't just teens anymore trying to score pocket change. By the way, teens and pocket change, I think I guess if their rent's being covered by their parents, maybe that is pocket change. But I think teens, for me, it's like, get me some gas. And when I was in high school, gas was 92 cents. And I remember when it went to 99 cents, we were freaking out.
Like,
and California
whatever.
gas is over $5 a gallon. What's up with that?
Yeah.
And get this, the Trade Association for Fast Food Franchise Owners gave this the thumbs up. Look, I'm sure everyone's trying to have good employees, and employees are hard to find. If you can go drive for DoorDash or Amazon, or maybe you're not doing that as a teenager. Maybe you're doing like DoorDash deliveries. You got to find talent, and talent costs money.
That's right, especially if you want them to stay. So, but Dave, from one coast to the other, New York City delivery workers, just as you talked about, hey, guess what? They got a pay raise too. The city's minimum wage for app-based restaurant delivery workers is now $19.56 an hour before tips. Now, that's a massive leap from the $5.39 average that apps like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub were paying their delivery workers just last year. I mean, that's insane.
Oh, man. When I lived in New York, my delivery driver for Uber Eats was so poor, he didn't even have an e-bike. He had a normal ass bike. Ba-dum-bum.
Wait. I almost spit my coffee out. What's wrong with you, dude?
How poor is he?
Dave.
He didn't even have an e-bike.
Yeah.
So you go around New York, and by the way, e-bikes are catching apartment buildings on fire because they're using crappy batteries from China that don't have the best minerals.
Okay.
Inside. Yeah, it's just like the Boeing planes falling out of the sky. They're not falling out of the sky. But Boeing on their Dreamliner 767, they had battery issues where batteries under the seats in the cabin were catching fire, which is, very frightening, I would think. It hasn't happened to me. But the e-bikes are burning up, and my delivery rider came up on a bike that was an e-bike. But now you go around Manhattan, and these e-bikes are whipping around the streets, all these guys delivering food. It's like the new Vespa.
It's smart, e-bike. Though. It's smart. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
Hey, speaking of airlines, United is throwing out a plea to its pilots, asking them to consider taking some unpaid time off next month. Now,
I wish I would.
Yeah, right? Unpaid time.
Wait, that's what I'm doing right now.
You want paid time off.
Exactly.
That's different. And I'm looking at Elon is hiring for his X.AI group here, and he has unlimited paid time off, and in parentheses, with approval. So if you're a tech bro, if you're a programmer, you get paid time off. If you're a pilot, which is arguably, probably have a higher app
job.
Yeah, then it's unpaid time off. Go figure that. And this is crazy because I had a friend that worked at United, and they were trying to hire pilots like crazy because remember, after COVID, everyone wanted to be up in the air flying, and I bought the ETF jets, and I'm still down, over $1,000 in that play.
Summer's
I'm
coming.
Wrong on this one.
Summer's coming.
Summertime and the living's easy.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay. So, but here's the problem. United apparently is facing some delays in getting their hands on their shiny new planes from Boeing.
Boeing.
You think?
Lord.
It's not that people aren't flying. It's just they don't have equipment. I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe they had to ground a bunch of Maxes. I don't know what planes these are, but the United Chapter of Airline Pilots Association shot a memo to its members hinting that even more voluntary time off might be on the table into the summer. I'm glad I'm not flying Space Available thanks to that old friend's, flight pass, because Space Available travel is the worst because you get bumped all the time.
Yeah, you're going to get bumped.
Workers at a Boeing plant in Tejas, that's where Georgia is now and where I'll be tomorrow,
howdy, y'all,
are calling foul, saying the company axed folks who raised safety worries. Look, you want to feel like you're in a safe environment to call out stuff that ain't going right.
That's right.
And to get fired for that, it should be a crime for those managers.
That's right.
It turns out
but the managers are doing, I was just going to say, the managers are doing their higher ups bidding. You know what I mean? I'm sure the managers aren't just saying, dude, you're fired because you said this. But I'm sure their bosses are like, zip A on the doors falling off planes A. You know, that was bad. It was really bad. It's been a while.
So bad. As we talked about that on a prior show, if you want to dig into it, we really dug into that part where the bolts were missing and there wasn't a procedure in the documentation to put those bolts in. And my buddy flew that plane 3 days before the door fell out and noticed this is only the news that you get on What's Next Wall Street. My buddy had to turn the compression switch on manual because the automatic cockpit and fuselage tube, the cockpit switch for that automatic would not work. He had to turn on manual. And then a couple days later, the door blew up. So,
but let me tell you something. You know how you get on a plane? I always want, like, if I'm not first class, which is hardly ever unless it's Spirit, and does that really count as first class? But that's another story. But I want the door, right? I want to sit by the door because that's where you get the extra leg room. Now I'm like, no door. No, thank you. I don't want to sit by the door. No, thanks. But then I don't want to sit by the window. So I can't sit anywhere on the freaking plane.
Yeah, but at this MAX plane, the caveat was that was a door plug. So it was like, it wasn't an emergency exit door. It was an extra door that, because of the way they extended it, they put this door in there. So normally that wasn't an item that was on any normal plane. It's always this MAX, and the MAX. Yeah. Think about it. They had the stall warning indicator because the two planes that went down in Asia, those planes only had a single sensor to give that auto nose system input. In America, they always had two sensors, so we had redundancy here. So that's why our planes didn't go by. But Boeing can't get a break. The employees at the Port of San Antonio plant have lodged a complaint with the National Labor Relations Board, claiming that they got the boot for speaking up about safety to their bosses. Boeing denies the allegations, but look, there's so many subcontractors and so many people that work to feed product into a plane. So we got to get this right. We have to get rid of corporate revenue, goals, and expectations and make sure safety is job one, which probably...
You sound like a commercial, but it's true.
It's probably a poster that's on the side of the wall in that Boeing plant.
At Boeing, safety is job one.
Yeah.
All right, so the EPA is stirring the pot with new rules on truck emissions. They're all about cutting down greenhouse gases and other nasties from trucking, right? But critics say it's going to actually cost truckers a pretty penny, which means consumers might feel the pinch. Now, on the flip side, supporters swear it will save cash in the long run and do wonders for the planet and our health. So that remains to be seen.
Yeah, so I've got another buddy who's got one of these NPZs or NPRs, these little trucks from Isuzu and Mitsubishi. They're little tiny diesel trucks. And in California, you have to have more modern versions of those trucks that use DEF, and that's diesel exhaust fluid. I've got a little Ram diesel, not a little, I've got a full-size Ram truck with DEF in it. And a lot of guys, when you hear that or see the videos on Insta of rolling coal, have you seen that? Where these guys go up to a Prius and then they floor their diesel truck and it blows black soot out of the roof of the... I guess I'm only getting the automotive-based Instagram feature.
Probably.
But this rolling coal thing is all the black soot that comes out of trucks. And now with diesel exhaust fluid, it's a liquid that gets mixed to the exhaust and it catalyzes and it gets rid of that particulate matter. So all these trucks have to have these particulate filters installed with the DEF fluid as well.
So your DEF fluid is something different than just like diesel gas.
That's right. Yeah, there's There's 2 fuel tanks. And the DEF, you can go buy it at, Walmart or your auto parts store for 10 to 20 bucks for, I think they sell it in 2.5 gallon kind of jugs. And probably every quarter you put DEF in. But diesel trucks that are on the road all the time, they've got a gas pump of DEF that you pull in through the diesel line. You put the DEF in, you put the diesel in. But it's a secondary tank. And my buddy, he had to sell his truck in California because you can't run trucks that don't have that DEF emissions add-on in California. So it's and that's probably what happens in California then happens to the rest of the US.
It either happens in California or Texas, and that's with everything. That's with like books, that's with history, but all that.
Yeah, but think
I can't
about
really
it with,
fool with what?
Well, with California, it's generally doing things that are positive for the environment. With Texas and books and abortion, it's things that are bad for society.
Books and abortion. That's just, those are two same thing almost. Books and abortion. No, let me tell you something, Dave. I cannot deal with diesel because I can't get a diesel car. I tried it, and I just put regular gas in it, so it didn't work for me. But
I had 2 of these little diesel trucks. I had one in Houston when I was working there and one in Dallas. And the gal that I sold the Houston truck to, she's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to deal with DEF. I go, your gas mileage is 20 miles per gallon in a full-size truck, which is impossible, right? But with Dieselgate, Volkswagen and everybody was lying about the emissions and saying that it's not putting anything out there. And, it's getting 400 miles per gallon, not 20. But look, it seems like a lot of the cars that we had back in the 80s and 90s, sure, they were polluting the environment. But if you've got a little, Honda Civic with a 1.6 liter engine, that's getting 47 miles per gallon. Yeah. Sure, it didn't have any airbags. It didn't have any safety whatsoever. But those things were getting...
in the back.
Yeah, exactly. Those things were getting amazing MPGs, miles per gallon.
Yeah,
so.
And they looked cool.
Yeah, they're cute little things. Hey, another auto news. Tesla is feeling the squeeze as the electric vehicle competition ramps up. Despite dropping prices, Tesla's sales are taking a hit. They rolled out nearly 387,000 cars from January to March, a dip from last year's 484,000 during the same period.
Well, that's 100,000 cars, but maybe it's because everybody already has one. Maybe it's because everybody in the world already has a freaking Tesla. I don't know.
That's true, but they're doing something I think that's pretty cool. They're giving away full self-drive to everyone for the month of April 2024. Now, if you remember when I spoke about my Model 3 last year, it drives with the confidence of a 14-year-old new car driver. It's full self-drive. It's herky, it's jerky, but it's so cool. It's a robot. It's doing the things for you. So this is the first time that Elon has opened up beta testing a 5,000-pound car to the general Tesla populace, as it's an option that has cost up to 15 grand before. And then they reduced it last fall to 12,000 because I guess people weren't buying it. 15 grand for something that drives, it's probably cheaper to have a kid and raise him
a 14-year-old herky jerky. Yeah.
Oh, no, maybe not. Georgia, our kids more than 15 grand, probably.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it. That's a month. I don't.
Oh, no.
Carry on.
So if you have a Tesla, give it a try, this autopilot. You just take the stock. If you have stocks, they got rid of those on new cars, but you just move I think in mine, you move the stock down twice, but I read that now you just move the stock.
What is that? The stock?
The stock, the drive reverse thing.
Oh, okay.
When it's in drive, you just move it down a second time and you'll see the dashboard light up and it'll look like a blue line going into the future, and you put in your address and it'll take you to wherever you need to go in the future. So
I can't imagine.
Now, I assume that this test drive that he's giving to everyone has given Elon confidence that the software team's latest code works. This is a potential.
I hope so.
Right, because look, so many people are Elon fanboys, right? Think about it.
They're either fanboys or the opposite. You either love him or you hate him.
Yeah, and
There's
I think
no in between.
If his code, he rewrote the code. My car had ultrasonic sensors all the way around it, so it had the beep 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 when you get too close to a pole. He got rid of that. He's just using cameras for full self-drive now, which is rare. Like all the self-driving vehicles use LiDAR, ultrasonic, and camera. And he's doing it just with a camera, which is pretty bold as a move. But I think his goal is to use this freebie, this April full self-drive freebie, because maybe people are going road trips for spring break. I don't know.
Sure.
But his
sure.
goal is to boost full self-drive subscriptions that could help profit margins. Remember, they're a hardware company, not a mix of hardware and software like Apple. Now, Tesla's margins dropped due to their discounts to 9.2% in 2023 from 16.8% margins in 2022. And that's before they had to lower the prices of the cars, right? Teslas were the hottest thing. Like, you could buy a Tesla, sell your used Tesla for more than Teslas were getting as new because you just couldn't get at the product. And that was before all this competition, like Georgia was talking about before. But the idea of software, this full self-drive, it could be extra revenue between $10 billion and $75 billion a year by 2023, based upon the projected number of cars that could be on the road by then. Because this service is $199 for full self-drive or $99 a month for autopilot. And autopilot, that's the one that works on the highway, which is cool, right? Think about like dynamic cruise
Long
control
drives.
that most cars have.
Yeah.
But the $199 a month gets you driving around city streets. But here's what I predict. I think crashes and subsequent lawsuits over this feature being in the hands of everyone, not just the super fans like me, this is going to put the lawyers in a catbird seat, make them rich, and delay product rollouts further. Personally, I like the autopilot as it helps you on the highways versus the full self-drive, which is not even that. And when you're in city traffic, like, you want the autopilot on the highways. So these Tesla discounts are most likely due to EV competition, as Ford discounted the Mustang Mach-E this month. And we could blame it on factory shutdowns, shipping woes in the Red Sea, plus a German factory dealing with a power hiccup from an arson attack. Did you see this?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, some think of this also could be the Elon Musk factor. You love him or you hate him. Some people think he's a moron, but he's just like an outspoken Asperger dude.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's really, yeah.
I think we all have to agree, though, he's pushing the envelope of what's probable to what is possible. And that is what I love as an inventor myself.
Yeah, of course. It's not just a cliche, Dave. The rich do get richer. The wealthiest 1% just got richer, of course. The top 1% reached a record $44 trillion in combined wealth at the end of last year. The most recent gains came from stock value increases, which netted over $2 trillion in the fourth quarter. We're trying to tell you that's what we're here for. Okay, y'all better stack these gains.
Yeah,
the 1% own around half of don't do what we do, just listen. Yes. So the 1% own around half of individually held stocks. Half. Since 2020, their wealth has increased by almost $15 trillion. I'm trying to listen up for today's pro tip so that I can become a 1% or two. But Dave, you can add your girl Taylor Swift to that 1%. Swift is on Forbes World's Billionaire list at number 2,545 with $1.1 billion net worth. Now, she's the first musician. This is a big deal. She's the first musician to make the ranks solely based on her songs and performances, not all her other stuff, not her commercials, not anything else. I think that's so awesome.
Think about with her movie, right? The Eras Tour movie. Yeah. Nobody wanted to produce that as a movie, and now it's shown on Max, which is weird because I don't know how much Max is paying. But she's the one that she's like, fine, you're not going to do it. I'll throw some money at it. But if you're already set up to do a performance, and the movie is from the performance in the SoFi Center, and I don't know if it was over one day or multiple days, because I think at some of those, like Los Angeles, San Francisco, she did multiple days of the tour. But like, she's making money through extra stuff like this. And what's important here is she's not the first musician with $1 billion net worth. There's a lot of guys like Dre and Johnny Ive, which, do you know how they made all their money?
Was it these headphones?
Yeah, the Beats headphones, right? Yeah. So when Apple bought Beats, that's how those guys made their money. So it's super cool that she's doing it on her talent. And, Bieber is, he was making a ton of money on on YouTube, and then he converted that into going to tour as well. So maybe there's hope for him as well. By the way, there is a terrible Instagram.
Maybe there's hope for us. Let's watch our YouTube.
Yeah, maybe there's hope. Yeah, please, watch our YouTube. Yeah, let's talk about that, because we started with a new channel this year, and we need our algorithm to be pumped. And we need subscribers, right? You in order to monetize with YouTube, you have to have, so many subscribers. What is it, 1,000 subscribers? So please help us out. You can go to youtube.com/@WNW show. And please subscribe, hit the alert button. It's good content, and you get to see our
It's
silly
great
faces
content.
here. Yeah.
And here's the thing. This is a labor of love for us. Like, do we want to be rich and do we want to be part of the 1%? Yes. But do we want to know things? Do we want to, give you information and actually learn ourselves, which is what we do on the show. We're learning ourselves, but we also want to give you pertinent information that you can use every day and that we can also use. So there's that.
That's true. And this Instagram that I was talking about, it's so funny. It took an AI and it made musicians fatter. And it's so bad.
I don't need AI for that.
Chubby.
All I needed was Easter.
Time.
All I needed was Easter candy. I'm all in.
Oh, that honey baked ham, Georgia.
Yes. No. You know what? I don't know. I want to know from you guys. For Easter, I'm from the South, Texas, so we have to have stuff like chess pie, key lime pie, stuff that's. Have you ever had chess pie, Dave?
No. Is that like the oh no.
You never had
you
chess
have any
pie.
leftover?
Okay, comment below.
I'll come to your house tomorrow and have that leftover chess pie.
Yes. No, when I tell you chess pie is the yummiest thing. So I just want to know what other people from other. So what are your dessert does your mom, if you were home for Easter, what would your mom make? Like, what would be your dessert? For Easter?
Probably. Well,
key lime pie, like lemon meringue?
Yeah, exactly. Like a more fruit-forward pie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because apples are like a fall
summer.
season.
Apples to me is like summer, fall. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Peach cobbler, but chess pie, y'all. Let me tell you. Comment below. Tell us what you have for Easter. I know it has nothing to do with stock, but I'm curious. I'm curious. Having a mentor or trading buddy to bounce ideas off and review your plans and results is a game changer. It's like having somebody in your corner who knows your trading system inside out and can keep you on track. It's like, I have a diet buddy. He's supposed to be my husband, but he's really bad at it. Like, we're out and he's supposed to be like, no, baby, no dessert. He's not good at keeping you on track, but OptionsPlayers is. These days, finding somebody like that is like searching for a needle in a haystack. So here's the deal. The best gift you can give yourself, your kid, anybody you care about, is the gift of learning how to invest and trade. We just talked about how do the top 1% get rich? Trading. It's through stock. And if you can team up with a mentor, well, then you're sitting pretty. Throw in a chat where folks are dishing out the latest trade news and you got yourself a winning combo. That's where OptionsPlayers comes in. They've got all this and more on their platform. And all you got to do is hit them up for more info. Plus, you can test the waters for free with their 1-month trial at OptionsPlayers.com. And OptionsPlayers lead instructor and What's Next Wall Street contributor Greg Krause, who's in our green room right now. Actually, he's in his green room because he's at home, but that's just between you and I. It's a real, he's like a real-time mentor over at OptionsPlayers. He's even part of this live trading setup that you have to check out. It teaches people how to trade in real time, because it's one thing to, go, okay, this is what I'll do if this happens, but to actually watch somebody trade in real time, it's pretty cool. So check out OptionsPlayers.com. When you're on the hunt for new team members for your small biz, you want to make sure you're snagging top-notch talent, right? Well, that's where LinkedIn Jobs swoops in like a superhero for your hiring needs. Let me tell you, LinkedIn isn't your run-of-the-mill job board. It's like the ultimate talent hub with over 1 billion professionals hanging out, making it the prime spot to scout for your next star player. And the best part, it's all free and super easy to navigate.
So speaking from experience, finding quality candidates can sometimes feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. And I don't know if I'm the needle or the haystack. But thanks to LinkedIn, that process is smoother than a fresh jar of peanut butter, which I just had on a banana. Seriously. 86% of small businesses land a gem of a candidate within just 24 hours of posting a job. Now let's talk about the real struggles of running a small business. Between wearing multiple hats and juggling 1,000 tasks, who's got time for extensive hiring processes? Not us, that's for sure. But LinkedIn, they just get it. They're always rolling out new features to make our lives easier. I mean, they even recently dropped a tool to help write job descriptions. How cool is that? Oh, and get this. 2.5 million small businesses like ours are already on board with LinkedIn for their hiring needs.
That's right.
So it's safe to say we're in good company.
Yeah, we are. Ready to find your next superstar? Head over to linkedin.com/WNWS and post your job for free. Trust me, you will not regret it.
And do it. Don't just say you're going to do it. Go to linkedin.com/WNWS. This is the part of the show where we get to hear from you. You can always hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street, comment on our YouTube page, or email us. We want to hear those emails as well. WNWshow@gmail.com.
Thank you, Dave. This first email comes from James from the OptionsPlayers site. And James writes, what would you recommend a person do with their longer-term 401k accounts, having gone up so much already these past few years since What's Next Wall Street ideas have been such fire? You better let them know fire. Should I take some off? What is Greg doing with these crazy gains? Let me pull Greg up here. Greg, what are you doing with your crazy gains? Did you buy a yacht?
No, I did not buy a yacht.
He retired at 40.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be hard. I live in Louisiana. A yacht would just get stuck in. I mean, there'd be too many trees in the water, right? So maybe an airboat, a fancy airboat.
I was gonna say
or a houseboat.
Okay, an airboat. Yes.
Yeah. No. The boat's just this awful investments. But next question.
He bought a t-shirt. What does that t-shirt say? Does that say stonk, bro?
I say.
No, it says, I don't know, bro. You're kind of sus or something like that. I don't know. The wife bought it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a long-term investment, okay? So we're not trying to trade. We're not trying to guess what the market's really trying to do too much. So what should you do with it? You should just leave it there and expect the market to continue to go up, because that's every rule, regulation the government has ever made makes the market go up. Do you think currently the economy or whatever is 100% better than it was in 2000 and right before the pandemic? Absolutely not. There's no way. But you got inflation, you got everything else. You have regulations that stop people from shorting stuff. It's just there. And then all the money is going into these 401ks, all these pensions are pushing it in there. So unless there's something crazy, the market on average is going to go up almost always. So yes, there are methods you should maybe consider when you think the market is really high, but it's really hard to tell someone, like, oh, you can make a little bit here or there, and just understand that it's long-term investment. You don't need to do anything. The best thing to do is just continue to put a portion of your earnings in there. And then once you retire, that's a whole nother story. You need to talk to a financial advisor about that. But, don't do anything crazy. Don't be like, I should buy puts or do anything like that. You can always sell calls if you're allowed to. But most 401ks are not going to allow that. Roth IRAs and stuff, things like that might allow you. But yeah, just leave it in there. Don't get crazy and try to time the market. Like we always say, right? Timing the market is better than timing the market. That's just what it is, right? So don't try to outsmart the market. You just be honest. You're not going to do it. Nobody's going to do it, because the market's just going to go up until it crashes. Then it just go up even higher. Who knows? Just
all right. Thanks for
there's
that.
no answer.
So you said something like, when you're ready to sell, talk to your financial advisor. Would that be like, all right, because I've got a buddy that helps me on my long-term 401k stuff. And he's like, hey, this thing's kind of run its course. You might want to sell. Back in the day, I was in a lot of international funds. Like Acorn was a fund that was a big deal back in the day. And he's like, look, I think Acorn's run its course, so get out of that. Is that what you mean by talking to the advisor to figure out what
with
stuff?
401ks, you're not really talking about certain stocks, right? You're talking about some type of mutual fund or something that your 401k provider provides. So it's usually like, we're going to get into more small caps or large caps or this sector or that sector. It's not like individual normally, although it could be. But most of them are limited to certain mutual funds. Yes. What I mean by that is at a certain age, right, you're not going to have income to continue to add to the 401k, right? So now you have to start thinking, okay, I'm going to retire and I need to live off of this money. So now that becomes an issue, because now you're going to use as an income. And if you lose a bunch of money on a pullback in the market, right, and then you're still paying yourself that income, even when the market goes back up, you're kind of screwed because you lost a lot, right? Because you had to sell twice as much. So now that's messed up your plan. So that financial advisor can help you look at everything and say, okay, you have too much in here. You might want to put money in these bonds or put money in this or that. Even abnormal investments. It could be investing in, I don't know,
Real estate.
yeah, I mean, it's not really abnormal, but yes, it could go into that. It could be in crypto. It could be whatever you want it to do, but at least they can sit down and explain it to you with some reason. And that goes well beyond just investing. You're talking about insurance, because, you know, when you retire, one of the worst things you lose is going to be, you know, oh no, I have great insurance. I don't even know what my premium is. It's like $600 a year for my whole family.
What?
Yeah. Hey,
Are you crazy?
do 20 years in the United States military and you'll get great stuff like that also.
Wow.
And let the government call you 75% crazy. But it's, it is what it is there, right? So not everybody has that. So now you need to think about that insurance, even your, for example, say you're married and a lot of my money comes from pensions and things like that. And if I pass away, my wife won't get it. So now I need life insurance. And they can look at all that to not just plan for your future, but your family's future. And I can try to explain it to people. And to be honest, it's one of those things you just need experience in doing, because, you know, at some point, I don't really worry about it because I got enough money. If she can't live off that, there's a problem. But everybody else, that's something to really think about. So, I mean, I would definitely, when you get to that where you're not putting any money or you're getting close to retirement, you should, pay by the hour, go spend $500, you know, for a couple hours for someone to look over your stuff and give you an opinion. You don't have to follow it, but you'll probably miss something there. And that's really what it is, more than just trying to get that. Financial advisor is not going to really give you advice on whether or not this stock is going to do good or not, because he doesn't know anymore if that stock's going to do better or not than you do. You know, it's because who cares?
That's true. There's no magic bullet in this. But, you know, like when you get up at the charts and read the trends, that's what we're all about. And that's what that OptionsPlayers community is about, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thanks, Greg. Next email we've got is from Adam in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I've been there. He said, I watched last week's show where Greg mentioned VIX, and I played it and got paid big time, stacked some gains. So he sold, but he wants to play it again. Does Greg see continued drama for the markets, or was this just a matter of his line being true once again? These are the lines we just talked about. Greg, what's up?
That's it. I don't know what the market's going to do. All I can look at, and I kind of talked about it today during my live, with, you know, I can know all this cool math stuff and I can do all these formulas. All right, I'm a nerd like that. But it really comes down to understanding what people are doing, right? And so the sociology of it. So how are people going to react? How is all this money going to react? And the best way to do that are trend lines, right? You can look at averages and say we're going to revert back to the mean. But when we looked at that VIX, there was a solid trend line at the bottom. I didn't bring it up. One of y'all asked the question, so I looked at it. But at that bottom line, it was putting it right there, right below 13, I believe, on the VIX. And now it's above that. I think it's like 14.20 when I look today. So, you know, it needs to be back down there towards that 13 at the bottom of it. I'm not going to say, hey, you should buy here, because it could go down. I just, rather than trying to guess what's going to happen in the market, I rather have a line in the sand, right? And that's my bottom line. It gets there and I'm like, okay, I can buy here, or I can wait for it to go below it and then slightly come back up. And that's my confirmation. And then I'll get that. And then I know if I'm wrong, because guess what? It goes below the line, right? That's it. And I get out. I don't have to question or anything else. I can always get back in when it goes above it. But just buying it up here at like 14.20, hoping, get that hopium in you, that it's going to go up. Now I got to come up with some voodoo magic on, but if it goes to 1368, you know, and they pull out some Fibby scale or some craziness and try to guess, you don't know what's going to happen. But I know people, whatever reason it is, when it gets to that certain amount, get iffy about the market and it pops back up. And you can see it through a trend line. And I love trend lines. Trends are your friends. And I mean, I would wait until it gets back down there towards that bottom. And right now it's sub 13 is normally when I'm saying, hey, at this point I can hedge against some things by using that. And the same thing, the market's up and the VIX is up. So that's a rare sight to see right there also. So yeah, it was good money if you played it.
All right, good. So he should play it again?
Well, if it gets back down to 13, not right now. So there is no
Were
play
you
for me.
listening?
Yeah.
Not now. Hello.
It has to go back down. Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
just wanna
thank you,
make sure.
Greg.
Right.
Listen, if you got questions, we got answers. Or maybe Greg does, email him at greg@optionsplayers.com. And of course, you can always hit us up at WNWshow@gmail.com. Post your questions and comments on social media at What's Next Wall Street or on our YouTube page. Make sure you do that. Or email us at WNWshow. Hey, Greg, hang out. We have other questions for you. Go hang out.
All right, on March 31st, AT&T finally admitted to having their data breached. This was 73 million customer records, which correlated to 7.6 million current AT&T account holders and 65.4 former AT&T account holders. Now, originally, they denied this dark web data existed, which was exposed to them back in 2021. AT&T says that the information leaked varied by customer account, but it could have included your name, email address, mailing address, customer number, social security number, date of birth, AT&T account number, and passcode. So you at home, just assume if you were an AT&T customer, it includes all of that. And if you had an AT&T phone since 2019, you need to protect your data ASAP. So like me, you may be seeing ads for the class action lawsuit bait on social media. Now, really, you're not going to get anything substantial in your wallet for that, but it's going to be okay. Trust me. My data was stolen in the T-Mobile breach of 77 million users back in 2021, and my perfect credit was used to create a handful of $1,000 in-store credit cards that were used to immediately buy gift cards, which were then immediately sold at a loss and instant profit for the scammers who took my identity. It took a good month or two after the crime for me to find out about this because the bills were sent to the house. Thankfully, because they used my address identity along with misspelled versions of my name. Criminals, aren't the smartest tools in the shed. So now, 2 big US carriers were massively hacked to the tune of 70 plus million users. And Verizon, the third big carrier, has had 2 attacks with under 10 million records stolen each. So it's only a matter of time that this will happen to you. And I'm going to tell you how to prevent this from happening. That is the credit being abused, not the hacks. The hacks are going to happen. It's just a fundamental account of our new life. You're going to get your identity stolen because accounts are going to get stolen. So first, head to Experian or your favorite. I kid. Nobody has a favorite credit bureau. And freeze your account. This is free. Remember the mnemonic free and freeze. Otherwise, these damn credit sites like TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax want you to pay some stupid amount of money just to do something that they don't need to be profiting from you on. They just need to do their damn job, which is not letting people get a retail store credit card with my name spelled wrong. Anyway, I digress, because it took hours out of my months to get that cleared up. So my credit reports are now frozen, and I thaw them out when I need to get a new card to get, 100,000 points for some airline miles or something like that. So freezing the accounts will not allow people to get new credit cards in your name. And you can also flag those accounts and say call only for approval. And now my accounts say that as well. So if you try and go get a credit card, the company will call my number, and hopefully it'll be my number that I get a heads up on ahead of time and not, somebody else trying to get my identity there. Another thing is, if you're not on a family cellular plan, the next step that I would do is get a prepaid smartphone plan where you don't have to give out your social security number. Look, I love mine. I pay $300 a year and I don't have unlimited data, but I get 16 gigs of data per month. And remember, some people, you might be paying $100, $200 per month. I pay $300 a year. Now, to cope with only 16 gig of data, I turn off cellular backup of photos. I don't doom scroll because I have a life. But with AT&T prepaid, you can roll unused data over month by month. So like last month, I only used, 12 gig of data, or maybe even less, 11 gig. And then it rolled that 5 gig over onto this month of April's account. So that gives me a cool 21 gig to use this month if I'm doing a road trip or something. But if you have AT&T and want to prevent someone from doing a SIM takeover, which is where a bad actor goes into a store and says they're you, They buy a replacement SIM and then use your phone number to approve SMS second factor authentication for your bank, your email, and anything else digital in your overly digital life. Then you need to do this and do it now. AT&T says they've taken precautionary measures to reset passcodes, but I would head to the AT&T website and set up a new password for your account and a new PIN code. And look, this really sucks. They use only 4-digit PINs. These aren't that secure anyway and can be guessed if they know your social security number or street address, which, remember, for those people that have your dark web data, they do. They have this information. So for them to impersonate you and get a SIM card, they can completely take over all of your accounts with this breach of data. So AT&T says they're going to reach out by mail or email to offer individuals with compromised sensitive personal information and offering also complimentary identity theft and credit monitoring services. Take them up on this. But don't plug your credit card number into these services, though, as I mentioned before. These freebies don't last forever. Like AT&T is going to probably pay for maybe a year of credit monitoring services. And you don't want, at the end of that year, a ghost charge being added to your credit card bill whenever the support for it ends. Now, there's a couple tricks that I use for this. If I've got a credit card that's about to expire, and if I don't trust that vendor, I'll use that near expiring card because the CVC code, the special 3-digit code on the back, will change when you get a new credit card number. Sometimes your credit card numbers don't change, but the CVC and the date of expiration do. So that's one trick that I use. Another trick that I use is there's an app called privacy.com, and Privacy lets you generate your own credit card number for up to a certain amount per month or per year. And you could put a quick expiration date on that and have like a $1 limit on it. The caveat with privacy.com is that you have to attach that to a bank account. So it doesn't come out of your credit card account. It comes out of your bank itself. And also Apple has a new service where you can generate a code for a new a new credit card code that you can use on websites as well. So that's if you have the Apple Wallet, you can generate your own cards for those services as well. So a couple different options to do there, but sign up for the credit monitoring service, but don't give them your credit card number if you don't have to. Look, these freebies don't last forever, and you don't want charges added to your bill after the support for it ends. So good luck. Watch for the retailer credit card statements, which might be coming to your house. Like if you see something from Express or CorMedica or any of these banks that you really don't know of, don't think of it as spam mail. Open up those letters, look inside, and that's how I found those $1,000 credit card instant activations that I was not expecting. So credit card fraud is a big thing. I don't know what it is, $1 billion per year, but it hit me. Don't let those crooks outsmart you because remember, they're not that smart.
Okay, so Dave, you said that I need to get with AT&T, get a new PIN, get a new password. How often should I do that? Like, should I do it yearly? Should I do it monthly? That's why I won't do it, because how often do I have to do it? And then how many goddamn passwords do I have to remember?
Yeah, right. And especially like everybody uses the normal password and Apple has built-in software to remember those passwords for you. A PIN, it's not really set up to do that. What's cool about AT&T though is you can go to the website and click like I forgot my password or I forgot my PIN, and it'll send you a text message with a PIN that you can use. So at least AT&T, since they're already turned on to your cell phone. But I do it right away because if you're an AT&T customer, all this data, your address, your social security number, all that is out in the dark web now. And freeze those credits too, and free is freeze. Don't pay for like whatever things they want to do, like the credit monitoring, but you can do all this stuff for free from the credit bureaus. And how often, think about like sometimes you'll get a note from someone that says like, we're mandating that you change your password. What I'm trying to do with this segment on What's Next Wall Street is get you ahead of the game. Like maybe one of those emails came to spam and that you didn't see it. So that's why like part of the show that I love researching what's going on is to give you guys the heads up on how to protect your digital assets, because everything's digital. If they go to a store, go get a SIM in your name because they have your address, your social, and your PIN number. Any woman can impersonate you. When they get that SIM installed in their phone, think about it. All those text messages that should be going to you are going to go to them.
Yes.
And they can do a takeover of everything. So the mobile phone is kind of like the key and the kingdom of your castle digitally.
Insane. Yeah.
So change those passwords, kids.
All right. All right. Thanks, Dave. So we referred to Trump stock as a meme stock earlier, but I just feel like that goes against everything a meme stock is in the first place. And just give me a second here. The whole vibe with meme stocks is that, it's a bit of a rebellion against the big financial players. The idea is that us little guys can band together and give a big up yours to the fat cats by boosting the stocks that they're betting will crash and burn. I mean, I think we all knew what would happen with DJT stock. It'd go up and then it'd go down. But it got me to wondering, that whole thing. What's the next big meme stock, like true meme stock? I know playing the meme game is like a roller coaster ride on steroids, but still, I mean, if you're a thrill-seeking trader, right, who lives for analyzing charts and doesn't mind spending hours glued to the market, I think I'm talking about Greg here, then sure, meme stocks could be your jam, although I bet you don't like meme stocks, but let's find out. So I did a little research, which you'll be happy to know. And by research, I said, hey, Alexa, what are the best meme stocks to buy for 2024? So the list was long, and there were a lot that I just don't consider meme stocks, like Apple, Tesla, PayPal, Nvidia, Meta. Are those meme stocks? We know they're going to do well, right? Some others on the list, though, were Chronos, Riot Platforms, and C3AI. So I want to know, Greg, get your little crystal ball out that you hate when I ask you to do this. What is the next meme stock? And was DJT, was that a meme stock? Would you consider that a meme stock?
Well, I think you have to say, I think a meme, we all know what a meme is, right? Just, like a picture with some words on it. I think that's a little bit different than what we kind of consider now being the stonks or whatever, like GameStop or something like that. We go back and we can say like Dogecoin is the meme, cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say meme. So what would be the next meme stock?
I mean,
if
in
I knew
your
that,
opinion,
I'd probably
do you
be
like,
in it, right? So
you'd be in it. But let me ask you, what about this list? This list, is it, I mean, do you think any of the ones on this list, like Chronos?
Well, first off, you have to understand the difference in like GameStop, where it is, no offense to GameStop, but it's a crap company. It's not a very great profitable company. It's blockbuster waiting to happen probably, unless they go digital. It just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
And then you had so much short interest in it. They basically manipulated the market, threw it up. Now it's come back down, of course.
Yeah.
So
same with AMC.
So I would look, so that's an instance. So when we want to look at things, let's just look at what's really going on right now. We have Bitcoin going back up right now. So maybe 2024, we might see an AMD. I don't want to call it a meme stock, but it's one of those stocks that is, I think we discussed this, will do great this year and next year, but then it might die off. It just gets way more, let's say it gets way more attention than it probably should in the long term. Now, so not AMD, NVIDIA. So getting NVIDIA is worth it, right? Because they control the AI market. So you might look at things like AMD, right? And a lot of times these meme stocks have what y'all were talking about, fanboys. So AMD, Team Red, they have their own fanboys, right? But no, AMD is not in the talk when it comes to AI compared to almost everyone else. And then I would look at, probably because of the cryptocurrency halving and everything else, that's going to bring a lot of attention to it. So you'll probably see something like Coin or something like that's Coinbase Global, I believe is the actually name. So that might become a pretty good, like, stonkish meme stock. So I would go after those. I would go after the AI side and the crypto side that probably don't really have a huge craziness, that have major profit. So AMD, Coin, maybe Micron or something like that.
You're right.
And that's about it.
Stuff down.
Well, AMD is the processor, so that's like the cheap, poor man's NVIDIA, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we could say NVIDIA,
use...
but it's already up so much. So
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I use Coinbase.
Okay.
I think Coinbase is cool. And
yeah,
okay.
I believe Coinbase's stock is up like 200-300%. I don't know exactly because I don't have it, but
so is it too late to get in?
that's the thing with these meme stocks. They have such a following. What I would rather do is draw some type of regression line going back to the trend when it started going up, whatever that is. If you don't know what a regression line is, think about like a scatter plot. Like when you were in school and you saw that little line, it had dots all around it, right? Above it and below it. That's the same thing. You can draw one of those in almost any charting platform. Just go find it, start at a point, go to the end, and it's going to show you a line. And what I would do is I'd wait to get towards that line. That means you're buying on at least the mean of that trend. Buy there.
You see what I said?
That might save you a little bit.
Earlier when I said somebody who likes to look at charts and then sits in front of a
No,
I was talking about Greg.
I do not spend. Hey, I trade live 3 days a week or 3 days a week. I get on at 9:20, start trading at 9:30, and I'm normally done by 11, and I don't look at charts until 2 days later. Right? I do not spend any time trying to guess. If I can't see it on that chart right then, I'm not one of those guys that are going to try to draw a million lines and try to guess where it is. Because guess what? I could draw every line on the planet. It don't mean anything. That stock could just go right through it. So,
that's good advice too. Actually, that's good advice too.
And you're going to get burnt out if you spend a lot of money trading. And that's one of the things I try to, like, you're going to spend so much time on it, you're just going to get bored. And what you're going to do is you're going to force trades. I'd rather you wait for the trade to happen and watch Netflix on the other screen. And if you miss the trade, whatever, just don't get one of those people like staring at this chart like, what's going to happen? Because you'll just start drawing lines and just making assumptions. Whatever your play
making
is,
bad decisions.
Wait for it. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Watch, like I said, pick your favorite, thing to do and watch it on the screen, whatever that is, Netflix, Hulu, whatever, keeps us PG-13 on here.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Right. Hey, remember, if you've got questions, we can help you answer them, and we'd love to hear from you. Email us, WNWShow@gmail.com, or hit us up on social media at What's Next Wall Street on your favorite platform.
That's right. And don't forget, you can watch episodes of this at WNW Show on YouTube. Just type that into the research box. Or, of course, as he said, listen on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. We want to hear from you. We want to see you. Make sure you hit the button and let us know, what parts of the show you love. Let us know if you're using any of our tips, if you learned anything, blah, blah, blah. And don't forget, I want to know what you had for Easter.
Yeah, which pie. All right. We're going to give you trending information every Friday, so subscribe, and we'll be back next week. I'm Dave Mathews.
I'm George Alfredas. See you next time on What's Next Wall Street.